So I found footage today of a German chancellor pounding on a podium and speaking about limiting the freedom of speech of this chancellor's populace. And I wanted to share it on YouTube, but I know YouTube has, within the relatively recent past, gone through and taken down footage of German chancellors doing just this. But I think we're safe because this German chancellor is the present German chancellor. And I am going to play this, but I'm going to leave out the German just in case that will help me avoid the YouTube censors. So watch this with me. We have freedom of expression in our country. For all those who claim that they can no longer express their opinion, I say this to them. If you express a pronounced opinion, you must live with the fact that you will be contradicted. Expressing an opinion does not come at zero cost. But freedom of expression has its limits. Those limits begin where hatred is spread. They begin where the dignity of other people is violated. This House will and must oppose extreme speech. Otherwise, our society will no longer be the free society that it was. Now, I am a particular person from a particular culture, and this is very triggering in my culture. My culture is the United States of America, and we have enshrined as our first principle freedom of speech. And that is buttressed by our second, very controversial value of enforcing that with the freedom to bear arms, to enforce the line between the sovereignty of the individual and the sovereignty of the state. So I will be reading this with that in mind. She starts out with, we have freedom of expression in our country. So we are in a free country, and she ends with that we need to protect that freedom. And the content between we have freedom and we need to protect that freedom is an argument on how they are going to limit that freedom. She says, don't worry, you can still express your opinion, but you will be contradicted. Be aware that you will be contradicted. Contradicted by another opinion or contradicted by the force of the state. Expressing an opinion does not come at zero cost. Now, at zero cost of what? My reputation? Of the cost of me having to hear another opinion, or at some cost that is enforced by the apparatus of the state. It's not defined, but it's hinted at. But freedom of expression has its limits. Those limits begin where hatred is spread. What constitutes hatred, or what constitutes the spreading of hatred? And she buttresses this, I believe, with the next sentence, where the dignity of other people is violated. What is the dignity of other people, and how is it violated? Dignity, so far as I understand it, is a cultural norm. There are certain cultures, I'm sure, where the wrong look is a violation of somebody's dignity. So if the state wants to start to enforce protections over dignity, then they will assumably have control over expression, because dignity is something that is violated by means of expression. It is a cultural norm, and it changes from one culture to another. It's not a physical norm. If the state comes into my house, I understand that I have been violated. If a stranger comes into my house, I understand that my house has been violated. I understand very concretely where the violation takes place. But where is the line of dignity being violated? It's kind of a circular reason. Well, it goes back to hate speech. But without that concrete definition of what you can and cannot say, then that line will just be very porous. It will always be very porous. Communication will always be very ambiguous, and there will be ways of getting around that. And once the state starts to encroach upon expression, I don't see how there's any end to it. And then you end up with this contradiction of a leader of a people saying, we will oppose extreme speech, otherwise our society will no longer be the free society that it was. The only conclusion from this point of view is that in order to protect your freedom, we need to take it away, because your freedom is actually violating everybody else's dignity or everybody else's safety. So this is more of a safety cult rather than a freedom cult. So I felt that it was really important to share that, because once a German chancellor starts making these overtures of controlling its populace in ways that I find tyrannical, I think that we might get into a hairy situation. But, I'm probably living in a society that's a little traumatized by Germany acting up. Not that long ago, but I guess long enough ago that we can completely forget the lessons that it was there to teach us. Hope you guys are enjoying your Friday. Talk to you soon. Bye.